This is an upgrade I've been planning for a while, and it's going to be SSD drives. This is, let me see if you can see that. Yeah, I guess you can see it. This is the super slim housing to put my optical drive in. I'm going to take the optical drive out of my MacBook Pro, and I'm going to put a second hard drive in it, which is actually going to be the boot drive. It's going to be an SSD. And from what I've gathered, it doesn't matter if you put the SSD drive there or where the original hard drive is. It's the same access speeds. So, so I'm going to replace the optical drive in the MacBook Pro with an SSD, and then I'm going to take the optical drive and put it in this housing. So that'll be one of the last things I do. Okay, and then here is, and there are probably cheaper places to buy some of this stuff, but I use their backup program, Carbon Copy Cloner, so I like to give these guys the business. This looks like the adapter for, not sure which adapter that is. Let's see here. Mount bracket. Oh, this is for putting it in the Mac Pro, I guess. So this is, I guess, for putting it in the optical drive. So the other upgrade I'm going to do two upgrades. I'm going to put an SSD in my MacBook Pro, and I'm going to put an SSD in my Mac Pro. And this is for the Mac Pro. So we'll set this aside for now because that's last. Do that after I finish the MacBook Pro. It's good they give the instructions with it. Now I got two of these. Let's see if you can see that. The reflection is like. I got two of these. They should both be 240 gigabyte SSD drive. It says designed and built in the USA. Mercury Electra 3G. Because of the age of my unit, 2 years old, it doesn't benefit to have the 6G one, I think. Yeah, it says 240 gigabyte right there. So that's one of the drives. This is RAM. I'm going to also upgrade the RAM on my MacBook Pro from 4 gigs to 8. 8's the max. That's dirt cheap now, the RAM. So while I had it open, I figured I'd do that upgrade. Here's the other hard drive. And they even give you a toolkit. Wow. I've already got tools, but that's nice that they give you a little toolkit. Well, it's included in one of the kits that I bought, I guess. Don't give it to you, but they include it. Okay. And then here's the adapter for putting in the optical bay on the, oh, that feels very well made, on the MacBook Pro. So this will be one of the first items that I use. So I'm going to set that over here for now. And the tools here, I'll also use the RAM and one of the hard drives. So I'll put the other hard drive over here out of the way, and I'll pause this recording and we'll get the MacBook Pro out here. Okay, it's nice that they give you the little screwdriver. It is the correct size and it would work fine, but I have a kit with a nicer screwdriver, and this is a 00 size Phillips. And this one has the swivel on it, so it's just going to be quicker for me to get the screws out. So I'm going to take all the screws out, and you do want to use the correct size Phillips because you can strip these screws if you're not careful. So I'm going to take all the screws out. There are, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 screws, it looks like. Some of these are different sizes, so you want to keep them together. I'm going to put them where they go. So I'm going to pause this and take all the screws out and take the back off. Okay, on mine, let me point this down just a hair more. There. On mine, only 3 of the screws were longer. These 3 right here that go across where the black is, and this one in the corner was a short one. So that's interesting that this one was long and this one was short. I don't know if that's the same on everybody's, but I've got them all lined up with where they came out of. All the rest of the screws seem to be the same size. So let's see, just lift this off. There it comes off very easily. Lightweight piece of aluminum. Now we see the guts of the computer. Now the first thing I'm going to do before I forget to do it is I'm going to put the new RAM in. So let's see here. Yeah, just pop those little clips and it just pops right out. And there's humidity here today. It's rainy, so I'm not worried about static electricity. Okay, I just had to wiggle that one a little more to get it out. Now, let's get these OWC modules. Okay, so I was just interrupted by a phone call, so now let's put these two new SIMs in. Make sure we line them up correctly. This one's going in the bottom slot. Just goes right in. And the new ones go in a lot easier than the old ones came out. Especially the second old one kind of fought me a little bit. Good. Alright, so now we've gone from 4 gigs of RAM to 8 gigs of RAM. Now I've got to take out a bunch of screws and take out this optical drive. So it looks like the first thing I need to do is I gave it a little pry bar. I guess that's to pry this up. Yeah. Okay, so that just unclips because I want that to be out of the way. And this one, unclip this one. Okay, good. Now I understand that there's a screw that's a little bit hidden under here. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to get to that hidden screw first. It's just a Phillips. Okay, so once you have the screws loose around the optical drive, you have to take the 2 screws out of this. This is like a speaker assembly or something. To get that loose, that will not be removed. But once we get the screws loose from the drive, we should be able to lift the drive out. Lifting it out now. And here we go, it's coming out. And the screws are still with it. I'm going to set these aside. There's 2 screws there that go with it. And then there's one other screw in here that I need to get out. I might need to dump it out. I hate to do that, but yep, there it came out. Perfect. Got lucky there. It slid right out. So I got all 3 screws that held the drive in out. One is here, the one that's tricky to get to, right here. And then the other 2 are here and here. Then this will stay in. This will get screwed back in once I put the kit in. So now I got to get the sled ready to put the drive in. And then we're almost done. I want to show you, let's see if this will focus in on this. Hopefully it is. One thing I want to show you on this is you have to take off this small piece here, and we're going to use this piece here also to use for the new adapter to hook up the drive. So I'll do that now. Taking these 2 screws out, catching them in my hand, because I'll use them to put this little piece on here. And it's going to go just like this. Trickiest part is these tiny little screws you're working with. But take your time. I think you'll get it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I can't see a thing. Okay. So here we go. Probably help if I had a little more light. Okay, so that metal bracket's on there. That'll screw into there. Now I got to put the little jumper. So this here, just ease this out. And plugs into here. Yep, that goes in very nicely. And that'll plug back in. So now I can put this in here. Well, actually it's got to go on this side first, I guess. That up a little bit. Yeah, and lift this up. There, it just snaps right in. Oh, got to fish this underneath here. Choose this little pry thing to get that out of the way. So get that screw underneath. Okay. Make sure I'm still recording all that. Yeah, still recorded all that. Okay, so it's getting lined up here. Yeah, boy, that's perfectly lined up. Now, see if I can slip my drive in before I bolt it down. Should be able to slip the drive in there. I'm hoping. These are both 240 gigabytes. It doesn't matter which one I use. Yep, this will line up perfect with that. Guess I could have put the drive in first, but there, snaps right in. Perfect. It's not going anywhere. Now I got to make sure to hook these two jumpers, these two runners up. Yep, that snapped in perfect. That snapped in perfect. Now I got a bunch of screws to put back in. So first of all, the two speaker screws. Right here. I'm sorry if this is a long video, but I would rather you see as much as possible if you're going to do this yourself, and then like cut out a lot of stuff. Okay, so those two screws are in. Now I need to put the other screws in. These are all black, by the way, the ones that go inside the unit here. So that'll help you. How am I going to get this screw in there? Very carefully. Please go in. Get this lined up with the hole. It's not quite lined up. There we go. Perfect. That's the tricky one. All right. Now, okay, I've got everything back in and everything's all snugged down. Just as an extra precaution, I put a little bit of duct tape here to make the drive nice and solid, and so that it won't vibrate or anything. These don't vibrate anyway, but just to tape it to the housing here and just snug that up a little bit. Probably not necessary, but I put it there. Everything's good. So now I'm going to put the back on. Underside of this computer needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start here with the longer screws. Just get that started just a little bit. And I'll go around and snug them all down. Okay, so you probably don't need to see me put all the screws back in. Just torquing down the last screws here. Make sure they're all snug and not over torquing them. Go all the way around it one more time here. Make sure they're all snug. Hopefully, this will be the last time the back is ever off this computer. Alright, so I'm going to turn it over. And I'm actually going to boot it. one time just to see, make sure it boots up okay. And then after I do this boot, this is booting on the old drive, of course, I'm going to use Carbon Copy Cloner to clone over. I've already did a fresh install of Mountain Lion on here, so I'm going to use Carbon Copy Cloner to copy all the files over onto the new SSD, and then I'm going to set it up to boot to the SSD, and then we'll see how much faster it boots. This has been taking a little over a minute, about 1 minute and 5 seconds to boot, totally up with the old hard drive. So I'll do a test once I've got everything on the SSD and see how that does. But in the meantime, I have to go in here and just make sure that it sees the drive and all of that, and so then I'll do that procedure, and then we'll do a test and we'll see how fast this thing boots up. Okay, while Carbon Copy Cloner is doing its thing in the other room, which is copying over all the files on the original hard drive in the MacBook Pro, copying them over to the SSD so that I can then boot from the SSD, because my plan is to have all my programs and all on the SSD and then use the other drive as data storage and backup. It'd be nice to have 2 drives in that machine. Now, in the meantime, we've got to put this old drive, optical drive, in this housing. So, see if I can figure out how to do that without reading any instructions. Looks like there's something supposed to go in here. There's a 3rd foot missing. And I think that's supposed to be a screw or something, and I don't see it here. It's like it's missing. I hope I'm not missing a fastener. Let's see what it says here about this. Yeah, it's definitely showing 4 screws here. Huh. I don't see the hardware. Okay, so that slides off. Oh, hardware's taped inside. Thank goodness. Had me scared there, OWC. So here's the hardware and the little rubber thingy. All right, so we're making progress now. So, it looks like what we do, sit down here, let me see if I've got that framed in the shot. Yeah, you can see everything. Oh, I guess this connects over here. Small one there, small one there, okay. So this must connect like so. Okay, that's made a good connection. And that fits in there nicely, very nicely. Now, this is where the other screw comes into, I guess, right there. So that must go like this. So, oh, what was that? Oh, it was my backup screaming. Okay. So this goes like this. There we go. Slides in pretty tight. Why are there extra screws here? Was I missing something? Was that supposed to screw in? On the back side, you'll see 3 cutouts for screws to be inserted in the optical drive mechanism. Oh, I skipped a step here, guys. helps to read the instructions and not have extra parts left over. Oh, I see. So this is interesting. You've got to take a little bit of tape off. So let's unplug this. This is interesting. There's this is why I didn't see the screws. There's a little bit of tape on here hiding the screw holes. So you've got to pull that out of the way to uncover these two screw holes on the side. So there's this like foil tape that is hiding the screw holes in the drive, in the optical drive. Tricky, eh? And you see there's supposed to be 3 of these. Where's the third one? I swear I only see 2. 2. On the back side you will see 3 cutouts for screws to be inserted. Oh, right here in the end. Okay, so that's the third one. Alright, so now I can plug this back in. Okay, so that's in. Now I get these screws out. So again, if this is going a little bit long, but it is what it is. Alright, so same screwdriver looks like will work. Okay, so this is the last of the 3 screws going in. Okay, so that's pretty daggone secure. I won't use this thing very often anyway. Who uses optical drives anymore? Okay, so just lined up. That's right, yeah. There we go. Snaps into place. Now you put this last screw in here to hold this, theoretically. Snug that down without stripping it. Then we got the foot here to put on. Little foot goes in here. That's it. Super slim drive is ready. And FYI, read the instructions, and this does not come with the power supply. Most computers you can just hook it up with the USB and it should work fine. So I'll test it with just the USB, but they said optionally if your computer doesn't have enough USB power, you can buy a power supply. Probably won't need that. Okay, while I'm waiting for Carbon Copy Cloner to copy everything over from the spinning hard drive, the original hard drive in the MacBook Pro, to the SSD, and waiting to test that, I'm going to assemble the rig to put the next SSD in the optical drive on my computer. So, looks like there's a couple of options here to use this. Yeah, it looks like you can even put 2 SSDs in this bracket setup. So that'd be good for future expansion. Okay, so let me just pause this. I'm going to assemble this, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so I'm mounting, put a different size screw head in, bigger screw head now in my screwdriver. I'm mounting the SSD onto this bracket with 4 supplied screws. Doing it just like they show it in the picture. Okay, and then I've got to put these spacers on. I guess these are what make it become a 5 and whatever size, you know, an optical drive is. So looks like okay, so I will mount this next. Yeah, about like that. All right, I'll mount that next. Okay, I've got this bracket assembled. You can see the hard drive is there. Hope you can see that. And got it all assembled, ready to go in the Mac Pro. So the next thing we'll do is install this and the second optical drive in the Mac Pro. I will not have to remove the optical drive that's in there because there's two bays. There's two optical drive bays. So this should go in there, hook up, should be good to go. So we'll see that in a little while. Okay, I've completed all the work on the Mac Pro, which means that I used Carbon Copy Cloner to copy the standard hard drive content over to the SSD. Then I've set it up so that it boots on the SSD. So I'm going to shut the computer down here. And then I'm going to start it. We'll see how quick it starts up. Okay, so I'm going to say right now we started it at 15 seconds after. We get the chime at 20 seconds after. 25 seconds after, we got the Apple logo. And we're booted up. So it took about 15 seconds or so for the boot, and it looks like Text Expander launched. I've got different things that are in startup, so I still got to clean up some of that stuff, but much faster. It took about a minute on average for it to start before. So let me launch Final Cut Pro, and I've not launched this yet on this drive, so here it's launching, Windows up, restoring window, boom. Just like that, a few seconds, much faster than before. And more importantly, everything's very much switch-like. When you're doing things, it's boom, 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 which I like. I don't like the computer to slow me down, because the other problem that you run into with that is you think that something's not working right, so you click again and you start really giving the computer too many signals because you're thinking that something's wrong. But this is like switch-like. I mean, as soon as I do things, boom, it acts, which I really like. This is going to save me money in the long run, because I can probably use this computer for a couple of extra years now because of the performance boost I'm getting here. I won't have to upgrade it as soon. Again, I upgraded it to 8 gigs of RAM from 4, and I put the SSD in, so now it has 2 hard drives in it. It's got the SSD here, which, let's see if I go to Get Info. I've got 190 gigabytes free on that. Again, I did a clean install recently, so I don't have a lot of junk on here. And Get Info on the second hard drive, I formatted it. I've got 248 gigabytes available on it, so that I can put a bunch of movies and stuff on there, and I can use the SSD for all my work. This is really going to make this a nice machine when I'm out and about. But when I do use it, I really like it. So, and this is going to make me like it even that much more. All right, so on to the Mac Pro machine next. I probably should have done this the other day when I had this disconnected and had the Apple Care folks were here, and they replaced the video card. Went bad. Okay, so you can kind of see that. So let me open, there's a little lever here, and this just opens up. These are beautiful machines, absolutely gorgeous. Now all I need to do is mount the drive in here. Here it is. And I'll want it like this. This is perfectly sized to go in here. Just got to get it lined up to the holes. Okay, so you do have to pick the correct screws. I've got the correct screws now, and I'm putting these all in. And a little tricky to get this to line up completely right. Yeah, some of these are a finer thread. So they give you various screws. I don't know. They give you more hardware than you need, which actually, my way of thinking, causes more problems. Okay, so that's mounted in there. Okay, I have installed a new version of Mac OS X Mountain Lion. I have installed the major programs that I use, like iWork. A lot of them I could download right from the App Store. For example, Final Cut Pro, ScreenFlow, Moom, Evernote. All of those, I just go to the App Store, click on them, download them, install them, piece of cake. There's a few programs like Aperture that I bought before the App Store had it, so I had to put that in using a disk. And iWork, I used putting in a disk. But everything else I downloaded from the App Store. And I'm just updating some things, some settings and so forth. Again, I'm doing a clean install here just because I want to give this computer like a whole fresh new start. It's 2 years old, so I figured I'd do a fresh install and install whatever programs I use. This is also a good chance to get rid of any programs that I'd installed previously that I just don't use anymore. So kind of get everything cleaned up and updated. And so far it seems to be very fast. Everything's very Switch-like. The SSD has really sped things up.
Here we see what happens when you animate on a hot day.
Yeah, it's 97 degrees outside. I've rebooted the iMac right here about 5 times, and when it wakes up again, it's still extremely unresponsive even when no programs are open at all. And I'm feeling the computer, it's really hot to the touch. I think what's happening is that because of how hot these computers are, they're slowing down automatically so that they don't overheat. So what I'm trying, I don't know if this is going to work, I'm holding an ice pack up to my iMac, and Erica
Erica is literally sitting on an ice pack.
Yeah, lift up the... Yeah, it's... We're putting ice packs on these things to see if we can get them to, if we can help their fevers. Alright, already I'm noticing a difference. Oh my god, I think this might have actually worked. I can't believe it.
I'm going to show you 5 OS X user tips that may be useful in your day-to-day workflow. The first being taking and creating screenshots. In OS X, you can either capture a defined area or tell OS X to capture an entire window. With that, you either create a file or capture it to your clipboard. To capture a defined area and have that file saved to your desktop, you'll hit Shift-Command-4. You'll notice that it is defined by crosshairs and it shows where you are pixel-wise. So all you'll do is select the area you want to make a screenshot of and you're done. It's the same keyboard shortcut to capture an entire window, but after hitting Shift-Command-4, you'll press the spacebar. You'll notice that it changes to a camera and then the whole window is highlighted. Capturing to your clipboard is a little bit different. That being said, it doesn't save to your desktop. It requires that you add the Control key to your keyboard shortcut combination. So Shift Control Command 4 will result in a clipboard capture, giving you the ability to paste into a document or wherever you need to have that image pasted. This next one is and has always been a big help to my workflow. If you're anything like me, you like to place all your work in progress files on your desktop and deal with them later. OS X lets you select multiple files and throw them into a folder of your choosing with a keyboard shortcut. Then from there you can put that folder where you actually want it to be. This helps me keep my system very organized. I like being able to find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it. Here I have multiple screenshots and a document I was working on in the previous step. All you need to do is highlight the documents you want to organize into a folder and hit Control, Command, and N. Then from there, OS X will prompt you to name the folder what you want, and you're done. Number 3 is dealing with zip files. I hate the file duplication that is set by default in OS X when dealing with compression. The archive utility is set by default to keep the compressed file after extracting its contents. This is a minor annoyance that can be fixed by changing the archive utility's preferences. Before we begin, make sure you have Finder selected in the menu bar. You can find the archive utility by going up to the Go menu and then go to Folder, and from there you're going to enter System, Library, and Core Services. Core Services being in camel case. This path will be in the description of the video, so you can just copy and paste. You don't really need to worry about entering it. Next, you'll locate the archive utility. Opening it seems to do nothing, but you'll notice that there's a green app icon that has appeared in your dock, and the menu bar now reads Archive Utility. From there, select the Archive Utility's preferences from the menu dropdown. From this window, you can change an array of different things, but for me, all I'm concerned with is what Archive Utility does after expanding the contents. I want it to delete the archive. In testing to see if this works, you'll notice that as soon as I expand the zip file, it is permanently deleted. Next, I want to talk about customizing your Finder window experience. Here you'll notice I've added some quick launch applications to the toolbar of my Finder window, as well as the sidebar. Any application can be added to either of these areas. To do so, find the application you want to add to your Finder window, press and hold the Command key while you place it in either the toolbar or sidebar areas of your Finder window. The key here is patience. You'll have to wait for the little green plus to pop up before you add it to the toolbar. Let's say you added something you didn't really want to add, and to remove them, from the sidebar, you'll right or control click the application and select Remove from Sidebar. It's a little different from the toolbar. You'll need to right or control click from the toolbar area and select Customize Toolbar. Then from there, drag and drop the app icons as you wish. The last and final tip I have for you in this School Circle video will only work on OS X, Mavericks 10.9 and above. Merging Finder windows. Mavericks introduced this nifty and useful little trick that I use all the time. I know you all have had multiple Finder windows open, and depending on how many you have open, it can become quite difficult in locating the one you were working from. Well, OS X 10.9 has a fix for that. Let's say you have multiple Finder windows open. Under the Window menu, you'll find a Merge All Windows option. Selecting this with 2 or more Finder windows open will merge them into one tabbed single Finder window. That's cool and all, but there has to be a quicker way of doing that. You'll notice that the Merge All Windows command isn't assigned a keyboard shortcut by default. Let's fix that and give it one. Open your system preferences and find Keyboard. From there, we're looking for shortcuts, then App Shortcuts. We want to create a new shortcut by clicking on the plus symbol. Now this step is important. You must enter the command exactly as listed under the Window menu. So here, I'm going to enter Merge All Windows, adhering to its case sensitivity. And then I'm going to assign it a keyboard shortcut. I think Control, Option, and M seem reasonable. You can assign this whatever key combination you please. Control, Option, and M makes most sense to me though. Let's try it out. Indeed, it works, and flawlessly, I might add.